I see, guys, this is the thing about being able to talk. And now, when you can talk every single day your heart out, when you can be able to every single day progress forward and be able to help people, then you have a sense of purpose here and you really, really see exactly what you want to overcome in terms of life. Because when you have a purpose or a career that you're working toward, you have much more belonging in life. You have much more clarity because you can see your direction. And now, if you want to see your direction, you have to understand that you have to plan, plan, plan. You have to be every single day planning your life around, either through audio programs or writing materials or video programs. And you have to realize that the more you satisfy yourself in terms of delayed gratification, the better you are overall. So you have to understand that you have to stay away from drugs every single day to live a life that's worth living. And now drugs does nothing for you, okay? And you have to realize that drugs is not your friend, okay? Anything that kills you is not your friend. So you have to realize that it's either you start stepping up right now to live a great life for yourself, or you start doing something better for yourself. So you have to really focus on your opinion to help people, and you have to really, really go out there every single day and make sure that you're helping people. You know what I'm saying? The more you help people, the more you realize how truly blessed your life is, because you have this talent and ability to be able to really correspond to a better way of life. And when you correspond to a better way of life, things happen. And what kind of things happen? I can say, and I realize that a lot of things happen between you and other people when you're trying to make a difference. So it's more about every single day overcoming your obstacles with the emotions that you have. And you have to understand that if something's irritating you, then you have to be with the irritation. You have to be with the feelings. You have to understand that you have to process those feelings. And you have to really do what's better for you. So that means health is the number one option every single day to make sure that your health is improving. And now, in my course of 5 years of life coaching, I have improved immensely in my communicational ability to be able to correspond to a better way of life, but also to be able to talk and to magnetize my attraction towards something better. And the way I do it is I speak more words, I produce more content when I'm doing nothing, and I make sure every single day that I do something that's going to help my life. And because I do something that's going to help my life to succeed, I understand that I have a passion and I must pursue my passions, because that's really living the dream, isn't it? So you have to understand that if you really want to develop yourself as a person, you have to understand that every single day, that has to be your goal. You have to understand that your goal has to be that you have to be better than yesterday in everything that you do, in order to not feel like a failure and to not really drag yourself down. So you have to understand that in life, things happen for a reason, and the more you understand that, the reasons behind that has to be something much better. Yes, and so you have to really focus on your ability to go and speak through the words and to direct your life in words. And the more you direct your life in words, the better your vocabulary is going to be, and the better you're going to be overall in terms of smartness and clarity. And you're going to have an ability to really, really correspond to something that's going to help your life. So you need to focus on yourself the most. But you have to realize that when you focus on yourself the most, you realize that life's pleasures doesn't get you what you need. I promise you, what gets you what you need is your feelings. And now when you feel blissful in every single moment of your life, I promise you that's the journey. I promise you that's where you want to be. You want to be in this kind of feeling range where you feel so good about yourself that you're really loving yourself every single day and doing anything possible to just maintain your health and to be healthy as a person. Yes, and so the more healthy you are, the longer you live life, and the more you can make a difference. So you have to understand that's the purpose in life, isn't it? You have to understand every single day that the more purpose you make around life, the more meaning you have. And when you have meaning in life, you can do anything. You can go anywhere. You can do whatever you want to do, but you have to realize to never chase money. I promise you, money is not something that you chase. I promise you never chase money, because money doesn't fulfill you. What fulfills you is your feelings right now in the moment. And you have to realize that if you feel good right now, it's because of something that you're doing. But if you feel shit, I promise you, if you feel shit like a failure or something is not going right for you, then you have to realize you have to start changing, and you have to start changing your approach to life. So my wallpaper on my phone says change approach. And I changed Jesus Christ photo on my wallpaper on my phone to the words change approach. And now changing approach is something that you do when you've never done something that is recognizable, in a way that you do something different. And because you're doing something different that you've never done before, then you have this ability to be able to really, really correspond to something better for yourself. So you have to understand that the more you speak words and the more you be fluent in what you're saying every single day, and the more you really grow from your words and from the person you are, the better your life is going to be. You're going to be able to grow and really, really treasure yourself every single day. You're going to be able to really correspond to something that's going to benefit your life in many ways. And you're going to be able to grow from the person you are. So you have to understand that philosophy is all you're teaching. You're really teaching some kind of philosophy about yourself and about your life that's going to help other people. But you have to understand that if you're talking about your personal life, then you have to understand that people don't care about your personal life. I promise you, they care about what's in it for them. Yes, and they care about something that's going to help them. Yes, and realize this, that talking about your personal life is not going to get you anywhere further in life. Your purpose must be every single day to provide other people in life with information that's going to help their life. Yes, and when you develop yourself so much and you get to this point where now you can communicate, now you can fulfill your dreams, now you are able to fly, you're able to do whatever you want to do. I promise you, that's the unlimited feeling of unconditional love. Yes, and so when you have your unconditional love, you give it freely. You make sure that people around you are happy. You understand? But the thing is that also you have to realize that it's not about pleasing other people. I promise you, it's more about pleasing yourself the most and making sure that your life is getting on track. Yes, and so if you want to overcome anything, you have to understand that you have to be with the feeling. Yes, and you have to feel your thinking. You have to be understanding that if you quit drugs, that you won't die. You won't die because you quit drugs. You won't suffer because you quit drugs. You actually get better and better and better. So you have to understand that there was times in my life where I was smoking cigarettes and drinking caffeine a lot. And I was drinking alcohol, I was doing drugs before in my life. And I realized that I wasn't in the right mindset. I wasn't in the best mindset to understand life at that point. But I always understood my next step. Since so there's a saying going around that if you look at the future and you realize that the future is a long way away, you understand? The future is a long, long way away. But the thing is that today you can make a goal for yourself to improve your health. You can make goals according to where you want to travel in life and what you want to do. But you have to realize that the more goals you make, the more you have to have a plan on how to execute that. And you have to execute your goals. And you have to realize that it's not about traveling to all these places alone. But at the same time, that you have to realize that being alone is everything. And the more you are alone in life, the more you can realize things. And you have to understand that I'm more able to do things that is according to my nature when I'm alone than with other people. I realize a lot of people like to waste time either playing poker or talking to other people, for example, or watching TV or sleeping, for example, or working a 9 to 5 job. I promise you that's all a waste of time. I promise you what's not a waste of time is learning. I promise you when you're learning and you're doing something different that you're experiencing life in a different way that you've never done before, I promise you that's the ultimate experience. In a sense, so you have to realize that if you go busking and you DJ music on the street, or if you play the violin, or if you play any kind of instrument, or even public speaking on the street, for example, you understand that every single day people are going to look at you and people are going to realize that you're someone in life. But the thing is that it's not about reaching fame. Yes, and it's not about being a famous person in life. I realize that the only thing that you have to realize in life is to let God do the work for you. Yes, and so the more you're doing your passion, for example, and the more you live life to do your passions, I promise you that's more key to everything that you're doing than anything else in the world. Yes, and so you have to realize that you have to overcome everything with feeling. Yes, and you have to understand that in life, when you overcome obstacles with your feelings, you realize that you're getting healthier, even though sometimes you feel in discomfort because of maybe you quit drugs or you quit some kind of thing that makes you discomfortable. You have to realize that when you are in your feelings, you can go certain directions and you can go different angles and you can go and hypothesize with yourself and everything around you, because your feelings actually tell you the way. Yes, and your feelings are always your inner compass. And if you understand your moral compass, which is your feelings, you understand that feelings are always something that you can push yourself toward in life, where you can actually manifest your dreams. You understand? So you have to understand that if you really want to benefit yourself in a long manner, to be living long term, you have to understand that you have to be doing something according to nature. So the more nature you have in yourself, the better you are. And what kind of examples am I talking about when I talk about nature? I realize it's just be yourself, for example, and understand that you are important, for example, and that you do matter, and that you can overcome your obstacles as long as you believe in yourself. So you have to understand that if you believe in, I promise you, if you believe in yourself so much that you can overcome anything, then nothing's going to stop you. You understand? And the only aspect of life that can stop you in life is you. I promise you, nothing is holding you back right now except for yourself. You're the only one holding yourself back. So whether that be through nutrition or through drugs or through something that you're doing in terms of pleasure activities, you have to realize you have to delay gratification as much as possible. And the more you delay gratification, the better you are. Now, I promise you, the more you discipline yourself. So you have to understand that you have to go in every single direction possible with your feelings. In a sense, so you have to realize that when you go in your feelings, you have to understand to really, really understand them. You have to understand who you are. You have to understand exactly what you want out of life. So that goes a long way into doing something that is freely possible for you to be able to understand exactly what you need. And you have to understand that if you want to really develop yourself every single day, you have to do life coaching. You have to really produce content of some kind every single day. And you have to understand that it's much more about speaking content into the world. And the more you speak content into the world, the more you become someone. You understand? So you have to understand it's much more how many people have given up on life. You understand? They've given up on life because they believe in other people more than themselves. Apparently, they believe in other people's thoughts more than their own. Apparently, it's more they don't feel that there's a necessity in life for them to be able to grow. In a sense, so they are dying inside because they feel somehow that drugs is okay to do, and that somehow they cannot face the fear of their life because they somehow think that they're gonna die. They don't think outside the box. They don't think of helping other people in the newest way possible. So when they do that, they realize they go on a they go on a downward spiral. And because they go on a downward spiral of conditions, I realize they start to manifest negativity in their life, because disease is attracted by people who don't want to grow. And when people don't have enough purpose in life, they die from disease. In a sense, so you have to realize that you need to be so strong in yourself. You understand? You have to capitalize on information, and you have to push yourself to grow. You have to push yourself to learn, because if you're not pushing yourself to learn, I promise you nobody else will push you. And you have to realize that I've read so many books, for example, in my life, that I've got to this point in my life now. And because I have this kind of information in my life, I can see exactly how to execute it. You understand? And because I understand how to execute my dreams and what I want out of my life, I understand that my only goal in life is to change approach and to be with Jesus Christ as much as possible. So you have to realize that it's much more how, when I talk to God, for example, I talk to God through words, I talk to God through wisdom, through music production, through what I do in terms of through my feelings as well. And I ask God everything about life, you understand? But the thing is that it's much more how God always replies, you understand? And God's always talking to you. But you have to realize that you need to do something that's going to help your life. You have to realize every single day is going to bring new opportunities, and you have to think outside the box as much as possible. So the more you think outside the box and the more you mentor people to do better, I promise you, then you become better as a person or individual. But that's the whole key of life. The whole key of life is to understand your direction. And the more you understand your direction and where you're going in life, the better you're going to be in terms of all walks of life. So don't waste your time on other people. Yes, and don't waste your time on other people. I promise you, they won't waste it. I promise you, they will not waste their time on you. You understand? So focus on yourself the most. Mind your own business. Do your own passions. Live free. You understand? Be free, and work. Yes, and just work as much as you can, and have meaning and purpose in your life. And then try to find and create meaning in your life by writing things down, by accumulating wisdom in your life, by making sure every single day you be the most that you can be. You understand? Because that's the whole point, isn't it? I realize now you have to understand that the more you motivate other people to succeed, the more you motivate yourself. And the more you help other people to succeed, the more you'll find the answers for yourself. Yes, and so I've been a psychologist in my life. I'm a psychologist in my life. I'm also someone who is a knowledge broker. And when I say knowledge broker and psychologist, all I refer to is I'm someone who studies information. I study all sorts of information. I study how to succeed, how to develop, how to personally develop myself in a way of spirituality, finance, and health, and everything to do with fitness, and everything that you can read today. I just read and read and read. And because I read and read and read, I get smarter as an individual. But sometimes you have to realize that it can get tough to start reading as much as you can. And you have to realize that it can be tough to push yourself, you understand, if you're not really growing yourself. And so you have to really correspond to something that's going to help your life, you understand? You have to talk out your feelings. You have to talk the person you are into faith and wisdom. And you have to really help yourself to grow. So push yourself every single day, making sure that you're making the right decisions for your life. So you have to understand that there is no right or wrong in life, and there is only what is, you know, so you have to realize that when it gets tough, go into your feelings, feel your thinking, feel the person you are, feel life. I mean, when you're out there, speak from emotion, speak from your feelings, because when you speak from your feelings, you're speaking from your heart, and when you speak from your heart, you can do anything. So people skills is all about communicating with all walks of life, with everyone, and making sure that when you speak things into decency and when you speak into life itself, you realize that you can go a long way into communication. you can go a long way into what you're saying. You can go a long way into what you're doing. But the best thing in life is to express yourself. Yes, and so when I express myself through life coaching and music. And that's how I do it. I also express myself through silence and wisdom. And I make sure that I try to have peace and quiet in my life every single day. But you have to realize to never be scared, never be afraid to be alone. I promise you, life is teaching you how to be alone much more often these days. Because if you don't know how to live alone with yourself, then you won't know how to live with other people either. So you have to understand it all starts with you. I realize when you start with you first, and when you really see that you can do it, and when you realize that your feelings are telling you that you can do it, and that you can overcome your obstacles no matter how hard or difficult it is, you have to believe in yourself in those toughest times. And you have to realize that when you're down and out, I realize when you're down and out and nothing's working in your favor, you have to take a moment of silence and you have to just be with the moment and just do nothing in this point of time. And when you do nothing, when things get tough, then you start to realize that life gets easier again because you're not under pressure. I mean, you're not under any kind of certainty that's going to disinclude your life. And because you're someone of nature, you realize that every single day of your life, you're going to make the best decisions for your life, because when you make this kind of certainty about yourself that you can really you can really be helping to inspire other people and yourself in the toughest times, I realize that's what makes you the strongest. So you have to understand that, for example, with quitting drugs, you're never going to be ready to quit drugs. You know what I'm saying? You're never going to feel ready. But you have to take the leap of faith. You know what I'm saying? Leap of faith in knowledge, leap of faith in everything. You know what I'm saying? You have to have faith in yourself. Because those people with little faith have nothing going for them. You know what I'm saying? They have nothing happening in life. I promise you, they're stuck in a rut. And when you're stuck in a rut, you understand, you have to understand, when you're stuck in a rut and you have nothing to do anymore, I realize that's when you just be in silence. You're being with yourself. And you have to realize that your mind always makes up problems. You understand? The mind's always trying to create problems and worry in its life. So what is the ego? I realize the ego is the thinking mind. You are the observer of the mind. You're not the thinker. You're not the thinker. You are the person who observes the thinking. You are the individual, the spiritual being that is observing life only. You are the observer of your life. You're not the thinker. You're not the doer. You're not anything of this life other than the observer. In a sense, so when you observe everything that's going on in your life, you take a step back and you really reflect and self-reflect upon your day. And how is your day going? I realize you have to understand that, for example, with my life today, I realize my day is going great. I realize there are things in life I could do better, for example. But the thing is that you have to realize that you need to plan your life. You need to plan your success. So you have to really self-reflect upon your life every single day and make sure that it's the best kind of life possible. So what can you do today to make sure that your life is the best possible life? So either through health, that you're improving your health as much as you can and making sure that you're pushing your comfort zone. Yes, and you have to push your comfort zone. And you have to get into discomfort sometimes. Yes, and you have to be in discomfort in your life. And the more you're in discomfort, the more joy you have. Yes, and so you have to realize that pain and suffering comes from something that you're not doing in life. It comes from that ability where you want to do something so much that you want to help yourself in this kind of way, but somehow you're letting yourself down because you're afraid that something is going to kill you or that something is going to take away something from you. In a sense, so you have to realize that you're going to lose nothing in life. You're never losing anything in this life. You're only gaining. Yes, and you're not trying to lose, but at the same time, many people are trying to do better in life. So no one tries to lose. You know, no one's trying to lose, but people are on different frequencies. Everyone's on a different frequency in life. And those people who are on the highest frequency inspire people the most. Yes, and so when you take all that faith and you put it into something that is going to help you and other people, then you have achieved sexual transmutation and you have achieved a greater sense of feeling. You understand? Because all you're really chasing is a feeling. So, for example, myself over here, I want to DJ in a nightclub so bad, my music. But why? I promise you, it's because I'm chasing that feeling. I realize I want to understand how I feel in that moment when I'm doing that. You understand? So the thing is that I can achieve that feeling right now. I don't need to experience that. I don't need to experience myself being in a nightclub promoting my music because I understand that comes to an end at some point in life. You understand? So all I need to focus on is achieving a greater feeling for myself. So when I do that, what I do is I create music, I create content, I create different bits of information, and I promote it online as much as possible. And when I promote things online, I do it for the greater good, and I try to every single day make sure that my life is much more perfect in every regard. So you have to realize that every single day you have to do things that is going to be according to God's nature in terms of something that's going to help you to move forward. And you have to understand that in life that if you grow, pretty much anything is possible. So focus on yourself, focus on your life, and try to do better. You understand? So if you push yourself in your content, and if you push yourself to make content, then you have to understand your feelings is what's pushing you. You understand? Your feelings is always pushing you to do something. So you have to understand that if you're bored, make sure that you do nothing. Do nothing when you're bored. You understand? When you're bored, just be complete on your own, and just try to really, really absorb life with the feeling. Yes, and try to be with yourself, because once the inspiration comes, then you'll realize that everything's happening. I realize everything is happening when you can understand that you're trying to do something that God is doing already. You understand? But sometimes you have to let go. And when you let go of what you're trying to do and you let God do it for you, approaching, then you have this sense of clarity that what you cannot handle in life, you let God handle it for you. And so you have to realize you have to let go and let God. Yes, and you have to let go of marketing yourself sometimes. You have to let go of content production sometimes. You have to let go of everything. Yes, and I'm pretty sure all you're really learning to do in this life is to be. I mean, all you want to do is just be. You just want to exist in life. And when you just understand to just exist sometimes, when you're not feeling pressure to do anything, you look at the ceiling, you experience the moment, you understand? And you have to realize that's what it's all about. I can say all life is about is experiencing the moment. You understand? Try to experience this moment now. Because this moment right now is always shaping you into the next moment of your life. And so you can see what's going to happen in the next few years of your life, but you don't know what's going to happen in the next decade of your life. You understand? Because anything can happen. You could die tomorrow. You understand? You never know, but you have to prepare. You understand? You have to always be preparing for the next thing. You understand? So the thing is that you have to always plan in that. You have to plan in advance, and the more you plan out your life, the more you can see exactly where you want to go and what you want to do. So for me, it's not about traveling so much to so many countries because I feel that I have traveled a lot in my life in many ways, but I feel that I can travel more. But the thing is that it's not about traveling always. I can say it's always about traveling always with the music content and production style of your content. For example, it's about traveling through words and traveling through producing content. So when you travel the most you can in terms of producing content, I realize you go certain places within that. And you can understand that the more you create, the more you can understand yourself. So that's what life is about. I realize life is about experimenting. And when you experiment with life every single day, or I could say when you experiment with certain things that's going to help your life, then you have a certain direction to actually grow. You have a certain direction to actually talk and to do something that's amazing. In a sense, so you have to make sense of your life. And I promise you, the more you make sense of your life, the better you are. In a sense, so that's what you're trying to do. That's all you need to do in your life is make more sense. So every single day, try to make common sense for your life and to make common sense of life so you can understand exactly where you need to go. So push yourself. Push yourself every single day to make as much material and as much content as possible so you can really see your direction. So go in any direction possible and have a few pauses in your speech sometimes and just slow down your communication sometimes. And you have to realize that when you talk to other people, try to meet them on where their level is. You know, so if they're so professional, then you try to be so professional. But you can see if they lack professionality, then you also have to meet their standards. You understand? You have to also talk like they talk and walk like they walk and try to copy other people in a way, try to image them, yes, and try to image what they're doing and try to do something different in a different way, yes, and try to be a different individual, yes, and but at the same time try to image what they do in a way that you try to copy what they do, but try to understand that you don't copy exactly everything that they do, but try to copy 99% of the things they do, yes, and when you image people, for example, when you image what they do, then you do something different, like an approach of a different approach where you're actually doing something that's actually much more beneficial for humanity in a sense. So that's what you need to do. But you have to grow. You have to every single day understand where you're going in life, and you need to set the sail, as Jim Rohn says. And you have to understand that your life is always planning. You're always planning your life, where you're going to go, what you're going to do. You understand? But when you achieve a certain feeling in life that's going to help you, I realize that is where you want to be. You want to be in that kind of state of feeling where you're feeling different, you're feeling alive, you're feeling well, you're feeling healthy. Actually, that's the whole point of life. I promise you, every single day that I do a different audio program, I always understand exactly much more about how I can persuade the world to do better. And that's the whole point. I realize your communication is all about persuasion, influence, integrity, and confidence. You understand? So you have to realize that you have to be really confident in yourself that you can produce something of quality every single day, that you can actually help yourself to do something better for yourself and make sure that you're just helping yourself to do better. That's what you need to do. So focus on yourself and just mind your business and help yourself to live life.